Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something pretty interesting, I think. We've got these excerpts from real English conversations.
Yeah, like transcripts of everyday chats. It's kind of a fly on the wall look at how people actually talk.
Exactly. Think discussions about, what they like, what they don't, sharing personal stuff, things we all talk about.
Right. And our sources give us this little window into, well, natural dialogue.
So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is really to listen in,
Yeah.
to sort of observe how people communicate in English on these familiar topics.
Maybe pick up some nuances, the little ways we express things.
Yeah, maybe even find some of those unspoken rules or strategies we use. Okay, let's dive in.
So this first set we looked at, it's all about that classic comparison. Living in a village versus, well, living in a city.
Ah, yes. Always a good one.
What struck me straight away, actually, was how they seem to genuinely get that there are good reasons for both sides.
That's so true. You hear things like, that's an interesting way to look at it, or, I can totally see why you'd feel that way.
Exactly. It's not really about winning an argument.
No, it's more like understanding where the other person's coming from, what their priorities are, and then it gets more specific, doesn't it?
Yeah, they drill down. Like one person really focuses on the calm, the peace you get in a village, that nature connection.
Uh-huh.
And then the other person jumps in with the city stuff, better facilities, maybe more jobs, just more things happening.
It really shows different values in action, doesn't it? Very direct.
Right. And then they kind of build on those main points.
Yeah, like painting a picture. The village is about close communities, people looking out for each other, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. While the city offers more, maybe, personal freedom.
Mm.
And you get exposed to lots of different cultures, different viewpoints.
It's almost like the place itself shapes how you interact.
Yeah, encourages different kinds of relationships, maybe.
Ah, it does. Someone even suggested, I think, that the slower village pace suits, quieter types.
Right, whereas the city's energy is better if you thrive on, like, constant stimulation.
It's like they're connecting lifestyle and personality almost intuitively. So what's a key insight here, do you think?
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is how clearly you see this, this basic human tension, right?
Which is,
The need for connection, for belonging, which we often link with smaller places, villages,
okay,
versus that pull towards autonomy, opportunity, which, cities often provide more easily.
ah, I see. So it's not just about where you live.
No, it reflects deeper stuff, how we want to live, how we want to engage with the world around us. It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? What balance do you strike?
Interesting point. Okay, next up, we had a conversation about someone thinking about getting a pet. This felt quite different.
Oh, yeah, definitely different vibe. It's more like one person's asking for advice and the other's giving a pretty, well, honest opinion.
Even if it's maybe not what the first person wants to hear entirely.
Exactly. Anna kicks it off with, honestly, I'm not a big fan of keeping pets inside. That sets the tone right there.
Yeah, straight into the practical concerns. Routine changes, responsibility, allergies, mess.
Mm-hmm. But the person wanting the pet, let's call them the hopeful owner, they immediately bring up the emotional side.
Right, the companionship. Stress relief, that feeling a pet gives you.
And that's such a clear clash, isn't it? The emotional pull versus the practical stuff. Happens all the time with big decisions.
It does. But what's interesting is Anna starts out negative, but she doesn't totally shut down the emotional points.
No, that's true. When the hopeful owner mentions companionship, Anna says, I can see that.
Yeah, showing she understands, even if she doesn't agree for herself.
Right. But then back come the practical worries, mess, potential damage.
Uh-huh. But the hopeful owner seems ready for that. They talk about training, proper care, managing those issues.
Like they're trying to head off the objections before they land.
Which really shows, when we want something, we figure out ways around the problems,
Yeah.
right? Or how to address other people's worries.
Definitely. Anna then asks what kind of pet. And finding out it's a dog shifts things again.
Yeah. Because dogs have specific needs. Attention, exercise.
Exactly. And you can tell Anna's underlying concern is just making sure this person has really thought about the commitment, the time, the energy.
But the hopeful owner spins it positively, suggesting it'd be like a good push to be more active.
Which is another great example of reframing, turning a challenge into a potential benefit because it matters to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So ultimately, Anna isn't saying don't do it. She's more like think it through properly. Her final advice is basically do your research, consider everything.
It's actually a really good example of how friends can give honest feedback, offer a different perspective without just, telling someone what to do.
It's about prompting that careful thought.
So what's the takeaway from this one?
I think the core insight here is seeing that negotiation we all do between what our heart wants, the emotional desire, and the practical realities of life.
How we try to make what we want fit with what's actually doable, what's responsible.
Yeah, both for ourselves and maybe for the pet in this case. That push and pull, internal and external, it's in so many conversations.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Okay, our final snippet. This one dealt with something really tough. A breakup due to infidelity. The whole tone shifts again.
Oh, absolutely. Very different feel. Raw, emotional. You're hearing the immediate aftermath of something really painful.
Yeah. Patrick starts with, not so good, actually. Me and my girlfriend broke up last night. Immediately it's serious.
And the reason cheating just adds that huge layer of hurt, betrayal.
Definitely. And Anna's response is instantly empathetic. You hear it in phrases like, oh no, I'm so sorry, and that's awful, I can't even imagine.
Showing real care, real concern for him.
And what's crucial there, I think, is how she validates his feelings.
Yes. She doesn't try to minimize it or offer, quick fixes. She just acknowledges how incredibly hard it must be.
You can really feel Patrick's sense of being lost, struggling to process it, when he says, I just couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, that captures the shock, the disbelief perfectly.
So what does Anna advise? It seems quite fundamental.
It is. It's about self-care, really, and time. She tells him to look after himself, do things he enjoys, lean on friends and family.
The basics, but maybe what you most need to hear then.
Exactly. And that reminder, time does heal things. It might sound cliche, but in that moment of grief, it can be, comforting.
And she also points towards the future, right? Saying he'll find someone who offers respect, fidelity.
Which is so important. It affirms his worth, tells him this isn't the end, even when it feels like it. It offers a bit of hope.
Yeah, it's a very brief exchange, but it really shows how vital empathy and support are when things get tough.
Absolutely. It just highlights how much we need people who can offer that comfort, that understanding during personal crises.
So bringing it all together then, we've looked at quite a mix of everyday topics today.
Yeah, village versus city life, thinking about getting a pet, dealing with a really difficult breakup.
Real range.
And what's revealing is how even in these, seemingly normal chats, you see different values popping up.
Different ways of communicating too. Different styles.
Yeah, and just unique ways people express themselves in English, their thoughts, their feelings.
Exactly. You get these little windows into what matters to people, how they make decisions, how they support each other, just by talking.
Which leads us to a final thought for our listeners.
Go on.
Think about your conversations, the ones you have every day. What topics come up? How do the people you talk with approach them?
Like, how do they express preferences or give advice or offer comfort?
Exactly. And how might noticing those nuances, those little details of how English is used in real life, how might that help your own interactions? Maybe deepen your understanding?
Something to think about. Good place to end it.